Kathy Hilton shades Mauricio Umansky's looks on ROASTS and tells him to move on. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is giving viewers everything they've ever wanted this season. For the first time in a long time, no conversation is off the table, and the women are baring their souls to restore the series' authenticity. Kyle Richards' ongoing separation from Mauricio Umansky is a significant theme in the initial episodes, but at least 13 more episodes of drama are on the horizon. During Tuesday's new episode, Erika Jayne, Kathy Hilton, and Sutton Stracke showed up uninvited to Kyle's home to throw a pajama party to help lift her spirits. Kyle was in a bit of a funk amid the changes in her personal life and her simmering feud with Dorit Kemsley, so the pick-me-up from her friends and family allowed her to speak freely about her life. However, Kathy quickly pointed out that Mauricio, who is 54, has aged since the split. "Kyle, you look like you could be his daughter," Kathy said to Kyle as their co-stars looked on in shock. Kathy mocks Mauricio's Instagram workout posts. Kathy then started flexing her arms to get her point across, which Kyle conceded was about Mauricio's Instagram stories of him half-naked in the gym with weights. Kathy then explained in a confessional that her relationship with Mauricio hadn't been good, and things got worse when he brought up his unfiltered thoughts about the Hiltons on his now-cancelled Netflix series, Buying Beverly Hills. The 65-year-old explained that it would be best for Mauricio and everyone for him to move on. It's understandable that Kathy would take this opportunity to attack him because they have had some deeply rooted issues for years. However, Kyle is very cautious about what she says about her estranged husband on camera, likely for the sake of their daughters and because there would be a wealth of media attention if they started talking badly about each other. There are still many questions about Kyle's relationship with Mauricio, but things took an explosive turn this week when we learned that he replaced a photo of him and Kyle with a picture of him and his Dancing with the Stars partner, Emma Slater. Kyle and Dorit need each other at this point. It's obvious their relationship is over, but understandably, Kyle would struggle with all lines of communication being shut off because they've been together for so long. However, Mauricio seems to not consider Kyle's feelings in his actions since they parted ways. The sad thing is that she and Dorit are going through the same thing because we saw Dorit go out to dinner with her estranged husband, Paul P.K. Kemsley, during the same episode. At that dinner, P.K. told a bewildered Dorit that they needed to distance themselves from one another. They were still codependent, which no longer worked for him because they were not in a relationship. Kyle and Dorit have more in common than they'd ever admit, which could be their relationship's undoing. Kathy Hilton never misses an opportunity to stir the pot, and she proved that once again with a not-so-subtle dig at her former brother-in-law, Mauricio Umansky, on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. In true Hilton fashion, she delivered her signature shade with a smile, but there was no mistaking the message. Mauricio needs to move on. And according to Kathy, he's not looking too good while dragging his feet. Tensions have been brewing ever since Kyle Richards and Mauricio announced their separation, sending shockwaves through Beverly Hills and beyond. While the split has been an emotional roller coaster for the longtime couple, their inner circle has been just as divided. Kathy, who has had a famously rocky relationship with Kyle, has made it clear that she's standing by her sister's side, even if that means taking some veiled, and not so veiled, shots at Mauricio. During a recent ROASTS gathering, the conversation took a sharp turn when Mauricio's name came up. The women had been discussing their post-divorce glow-ups, who was thriving, who was surviving, and who was barely scraping by. When someone mentioned that Mauricio was looking a little different these days, Kathy took the opportunity to chime in with her signature brand of backhanded support. "Oh, Mauricio?" Kathy said, feigning innocence as she took a sip of her drink. "I mean, time does things to a person, doesn't it? Some people get better with age, others, well, let's just say stress isn't a good look for everyone." The room fell silent for a split second before a few nervous giggles broke out. Leave it to Kathy to say what everyone else was thinking. Of course she wasn't done. With a knowing glance she added, "But hey, we all go through our little phases. Maybe he's just in his needs a makeover era." The subtle jab didn't go unnoticed, and it didn't take long for word to travel back to Mauricio. While the real estate mogul has been keeping himself busy with his Dancing with the Stars stint and his Netflix series, buying Beverly Hills, it seems even the dance floor couldn't keep him from catching wind of Kathy's remarks. Mauricio, never one to shy away from a little friendly, or not-so-friendly fire, reportedly brushed off Kathy's shade with a chuckle. Kathy loves to talk, a source close to Mauricio shared, but at the end of the day he's focused on his business, his family, and living his best life. If that means looking a little rough around the edges for a while, so be it. But the real kicker came when Kathy doubled down on her comments during a confessional interview. "Look, I'm not saying anything that people haven't already noticed," she said with a coy smile. "I just think when one chapter ends, it's important to step into the next one gracefully, and maybe get a good night's sleep while you're at it." While Kathy's remarks may have been wrapped in her usual humor, the underlying message was clear. She doesn't think Mauricio is handling his split from Kyle very well, and she isn't the only one with opinions. ROASTS fans have been speculating about Mauricio's recent appearances, noting that he does, in fact, look a little different. Whether it's the stress of the divorce, the pressures of reality TV, or just life catching up with him, the internet has taken notice. Kyle, for her part, has kept relatively quiet on the matter, choosing to focus on her own healing and personal growth. But that doesn't mean she's entirely unaffected by Kathy's comments. Insiders say that while Kyle appreciates her sister's loyalty, she also wishes Kathy would dial it back just a little. Kyle doesn't want this to turn into a war, a source shared. She still cares about Mauricio, and she doesn't want things to get uglier than they already are. Still, Kathy isn't one to let an opportunity for shade pass her by, and with the drama heating up both on screen and off, it's clear that this story is far from over. That ROASTS reunion is right around the corner. And if history has taught us anything, it's that Kathy Hilton will have plenty more to say when the time comes. Will Mauricio clap back? Will Kyle finally step in? One thing's for sure, when it comes to Beverly Hills, the tea is always piping hot. While Kathy's remarks may have been wrapped in her usual humor, the underlying message was clear. She doesn't think Mauricio is handling his split from Kyle very well, and she isn't the only one with opinions. ROASTS fans have been speculating about Mauricio's recent appearances, noting that he does, in fact, look a little different. Whether it's the stress of the divorce, the pressures of reality TV, or just life catching up with him, the internet has taken notice. Kyle, for her part, has kept relatively quiet on the matter, choosing to focus on her own healing and personal growth. But that doesn't mean she's entirely unaffected by Kathy's comments. Insiders say that while Kyle appreciates her sister's loyalty, she also wishes Kathy would dial it back just a little. Kyle doesn't want this to turn into a war, a source shared. She still cares about Mauricio, and she doesn't want things to get uglier than they already are. Still, Kathy isn't one to let an opportunity for shade pass her by, and with the drama heating up both on screen and off, it's clear that this story is far from over. That ROASTS reunion is right around the corner. And if history has taught us anything, it's that Kathy Hilton will have plenty more to say when the time comes. Will Mauricio clap back? Will Kyle finally step in? One thing's for sure, when it comes to Beverly Hills, the tea is always piping hot.